Sure.
Hi, Anita. How are you?
I'm good, Nancy. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I wish the weather was better. I think I've been hearing it's nice down where you are in Naples.
Yes, absolutely. I've been telling everyone I'd love to send them 20 degrees because we're quite warm right now. We're in the 90s and it's definitely summer weather. Unfortunately, the beaches are still closed.
Oh, yes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's true. Besides the beaches, what are you finding? I mean, you're not able to show houses. What are you doing?
Well, what we're doing is we're having virtual showings.
Yeah.
And because we have a large international clientele as well as out of state clientele, obviously, like, people from Mass, New
Okay.
York, New Jersey, Illinois, Canada, and overseas. So a lot of them are used to buying virtual.
Really?
And
Oh, great.
yes, in fact, I was surprised. One of my neighbors, just 2 days ago, I actually moved them into my neighborhood. So they're in their 80s and they're seasonal. They spend their other time up in Maine. And he said to me, "Oh, he said, I bought my very first house sight unseen." And I said, "Wow, you were ahead of the curve." So I'm finding that people are actually embracing virtual showings much more than we actually expected. But because of the type of market that we're in, which has been a secondary market for the most part,
Yeah.
which is actually starting to turn around into a primary market, we're getting a lot of interest from people from the Northeast. Especially during this time, because if you're going to have to be isolating, it's easier to self-isolate when you're in a warmer climate. The sun is shining. You can at least walk out your door and go for a walk, of course, socially distancing from your neighbors, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And so people who've been sitting on the fence about buying are now showing great interest. I had a call from someone who I know quite well in Canada, and he owns many companies in real estate, and he's very interested in purchasing properties. So we are in my office, we have 750 agents, and we're all posting, our updates, and we're very busy.
So do you have enough inventory then, or do you finding that because we don't have a lot of inventory?
Right, and that's a great question, Nancy. We have a decent amount of inventory. The challenge for us is not in the single family, but is in the condos,
Mm.
which the high-rise luxury condos that have concierge or security, some of them are what we call lockdown, meaning no one's allowed to go in.
Okay.
My most recent transaction, which was in one of the Gulfront luxury condos, we closed just in the nick of time, and they were starting to question, like, "Why are you here? Aren't you finished?" And I said, I had to go get something, but I wear masks and a mask and gloves
Of course.
anyway. So that is the one challenge. But then we have a very sophisticated clientele in the luxury department, on the luxury side, so to speak, that knows Naples or knows certain buildings that they've had their eye on,
Mhm.
and they're ready to pull triggers. So they are more of an educated buyer on that end versus someone saying, "I have to move." Uh, let's say in your area, or in New York for schools or for a job.
Right.
That it's a completely different type of market.
Are you finding that as you just said, your market, the people that are buying, you're expecting and experiencing more people who are looking for a true move rather than a snowbird, quote unquote. Are they
We're
looking
seeing.
at different properties
Sorry.
than the snowbirds are?
We are seeing both. The snowbirds have always, the seasonal buyers have always been here
Mm.
and continue to come because of just, demographics.
Yeah.
People who are now like maybe in their early 50s who, realize that they can afford now a investment or recreation vacation condo. And then we have another group that have said, we're going to now make this our full-time residence because Florida not only has the weather, the prices have been, decent. We have the, no state tax, income tax. And property taxes are substantially lower than you'd find in Illinois, Illinois, New York State, New Jersey,
Well,
Massachusetts. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, and because of the ability to work virtual, we're also seeing a younger clientele coming in.
that's interesting. What are they
Yes,
saying? What are they doing? What's the jobs that are drawing them there?
it varies. This one couple, the 85-year-old, their son and daughter-in-law moved down here last year, and they decided to rent for the first year, which I helped them with. I don't usually do rentals, but it was as a favor. And she's a school teacher, which was easy for her to get a job, and he is in financial services and he can work virtual.
Yeah.
I'm finding a lot of people. Also, there's another group from actually Massachusetts. They're from, I believe, Cape Cod, and the father has had a couple places down here, and he's got 3 daughters. And all of a sudden this season, they've all been here, and I've been chatting with them, and they bought pre-construction a property, and they're living here. They've decided to make this their full-time residence
Wow,
with
how
the
nice is that?
air. Yeah, because we have an airport,
Mhm.
RSW Fort Myers Airport, which is international.
Okay.
And then if you need to go to Fort Lauderdale or Miami, that's an hour and a half to 2 hour drive. Some people, if they fly overseas, they go that way instead of flying, out of Fort Myers. So a lot of executives can work virtual as long as they're close to an airport that if and when they do need to travel, they're able to do so. However, I think COVID is going to change a lot of that. A lot of companies who've now done virtual meetings like Zooms,
Yeah.
they now realize that it does work just as well.
I
So we're going to
agree.
see a huge change
I think
happening
we're going to
there.
see that here too, that there's been a lot of companies that will now see that maybe they don't need all the office space that they thought they did. And there you're going to have, I
Yes.
think, a split between people who can't wait to get back into the office and those who
Yeah.
really enjoy working at home, who really didn't know that they could or that they would enjoy it, that they would be as productive as they might be. So,
Yes,
yeah.
you're right. And it depends on your dynamics. It depends on, if you have children at home,
Sure.
if there's, someone else working at home.
Right.
I've always had a home office, all the 17 years of being in real estate. I actually work better that way. Up until a couple months ago, I had an office on Fifth Avenue that I would go to 3 times a week for floor duty. And we just found that just wasn't, although I enjoyed doing it,
Mhm.
I enjoyed the interaction. It's like being at an open house. I enjoyed all the dogs that came along to see me. But from being productive, it really wasn't the highest and best use of my time.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Well, Anita, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to catch up with me. I really enjoy our conversations.
Well, my pleasure, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to doing it again with you.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.